Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Erick Dunn. Hey, John, a while back, I got excited about a new movie they announced called Man from Toronto. I'm a good Canadian kid, so I was just happy Toronto was in the title. But back then, Jason Statham was going to star in it. I don't know what happened, but I just saw an announcement that Statham is out and Harrelson replaced him to co-star with Kevin Hart. And now the movie is just going straight to Netflix. Is this a bad sign for the movie?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, I still remember, I think I might have still been, at Collider AMC when the first news of the Man from Toronto came out. And it sounded great. It's the idea of this hitman known as the Man from Toronto ends up accidentally crossing dates and stays in an Airbnb when another average guy, played by Kevin Hart, goes in there. But I was kind of excited about it at the time because it was going to be Kevin Hart and Jason Statham. I love Jason Statham in these roles. Maybe he's a little bit typecast for these things these days. That's fair to say. I don't care. I still like him in these roles. And I thought the idea of him playing against Kevin Hart would be pretty good since I really love the way he played against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Dwayne and Kevin often work together. I thought it could be pretty fun. Then we heard the news fairly shortly afterwards that fell through and Jason Statham withdrew. And I can't remember exactly why Jason Statham walked away from it. It might have had something to do with some creative input or something like that. Can't remember. He walked away from it. A little bit later, they announced that Woody Harrelson would be taking his place, and it would be Woody Harrelson and Kevin Hart. I don't know, and I remember saying this at the time, but a 60-year-old Woody Harrelson, by the way, Woody Harrelson's great. I love Woody Harrelson.
I do too, yeah.
But could he pull off what Jason Statham could pull off? Because Jason Statham's a trained martial artist. He can do all this kind of stuff. Could Woody Harrelson bring to the screen in a believable way? Obviously, they can still use stuntmen, but the way that Jason Statham, I lost a little bit of my interest for it and kind of fell off my radar. Well, now it's going straight to streaming. Something that Sony said, we don't send our movies straight to streaming at CinemaCon last year, other than movies that are conceived of as streaming movies. So what happened here? Well, let's take a look at it. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, write the following. Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson's action comedy, The Man from Toronto, is headed to Netflix, Variety has learned exclusively. The Sony Pictures production, originally dated for an August theatrical release, has sold in a worldwide rights deal to the streamer in all territories barring China. The transfer falls under the exclusive first-look Sony deal signed with Netflix last year, on the heels of its notable windowing agreement with the tech giant in 2021. The film revolves around a case of mistaken identity after the world's deadliest assassin, known as the Man from Toronto, Harrelson, and a stranger, played by Hart, run into each other at an Airbnb. Chaos soon follows as the assassin's world comes crashing down on Hart. Netflix will release the film later this year. So here's what Variety is talking about. Variety and Netflix signed a deal last year, a couple of years ago, I can't remember exactly, that Netflix will become the streaming home of Sony's movies once they're ready to go to streaming, barring outside agreements. But Netflix also got a first look deal. Not a first look deal at all of Sony's movies, but first look deals at movies Sony made with the intention of going to streaming. Which means if Sony contacted me and gave me $10 to make a movie about the life of John Campea, so that's about as much as that movie's worth. But to say, just so you know, this is going to be made for a streaming service. We're going to make this for streaming. Then Netflix gets the first right to take it. Now, Netflix can turn it down, and then Sony can shop it to other streaming services, but anything that Sony makes that is meant to go to streaming, Netflix gets first crack at it. Well, what happened here? This was intended to be a theatrical movie. This was intended to go to theaters. They've got a bunch of movies lined up right now that are coming to theaters over the next year and a half. Why did this one suddenly go? Well, the answer is obvious. This movie's shit. I mean, I haven't seen it. I can't say that definitively, but it seems pretty obvious. It seems pretty obvious to me that they looked at this thing and realized, yeah, this isn't very good. And this isn't going to make any money at the box office. We better get something for it. We'll put it to streaming. Well, if we're going to put it to streaming, Netflix gets first dibs at it. So Netflix said, sure, we'll take it. And away it goes. So this is not great news. Remember, this is not a situation that Sony made this movie for Netflix. If that was the case, it could still end up being good. But when Sony, a studio like this, who is so committed to the theatrical release model, when they go, yeah, this movie is for release in theaters, and then after it's all done and all the post-production starts wrapping up and they're looking at it and going, yeah, let's dump this one off on Netflix. Again, I haven't seen the movie. For all I know, I could watch and think it's the greatest thing since Citizen Kane. But
it's not.
Right now, look, come on, honestly, does anybody doubt that the reason did this is because this movie's probably crap? I mean, I'm saying it's absolutely, the possibility exists. It could be great, absolutely, but this doesn't happen in a vacuum. This happens for a reason. I'm going to go on the assumption that it's absolute shit. I will, when it comes time to watch it, I'll go into it. I'll take that baggage and I'll leave it at the door and I'll judge it on its own merits. But for right now, I feel pretty safe in saying I believe this is getting dumped on Netflix because it's crap. Rob, you heard this story. What's your expectation level journey been for The Man from Toronto from its original inception, dropping Statham, now it's going to Netflix? What are your thoughts?
I would say that you're probably correct in your assessment that it's not a very good movie, but something has happened that has now, I think, caused a sea change, and that's Ambulance. Now, this decision might have been coming for a long time before Ambulance came out. The fact that Ambulance, a Michael Bay joint, Bayhem to the extreme, a movie that I've heard more people tell me they liked it. You didn't, but I've heard other people tell me they've liked it. I was surprised by this. But the fact that Ambulance didn't just do poorly, it tanked. It tanked. And normally an action film like an Ambulance, a Michael Bay movie, it could be, but you could get something out of it. You're assured of getting at least decent box office.
We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Now, guys, does it make sense that the same company who controls half the online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? Or what about the idea that a single company controls 90% of the internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? You guys know that big tech is more powerful than most countries are, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and these tech juggernauts, and that's why I use ExpressVPN. You see, when you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, something that big tech companies can use to personally identify you. So ExpressVPN makes your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of your internet data to keep you safe from hackers and eavesdroppers on your network. So stop handing over your personal data to the big tech monopoly that mines your activity and sells your information. Protect yourself with a VPN that I trust to keep me safe online. Visit expressvpn.com/Campea. That's expressvpn.com/Campea to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea right now to learn more.
Well, not anymore. And I don't know when this decision was made. It was probably made, like you said, they looked at it in post and they knew this was coming. They shopped it to Netflix. But I think people are going to take a long, hard look at action cinema now and decide, should we make this? Because if Michael Bay can't bring people in, who can? Do we have to make Taken 87 or Blacklight 47 or whatever Liam Neeson's in? But even those movies, those grindstone movies that are made through Lionsgate, unless you've got John Wick, where is action cinema today? How is it viable in a theatrical marketplace?
I think people are overreacting to Ambulance. I really do. Because I remember when Ambulance was coming out, I said, these trailers look like garbage. I'm not interested in it. And let's not pretend like this happened in an Ambulance. What has Michael Bay directed that has been a big hit since Transformers?
Well, nothing.
I mean, and so that's the thing, right?
But he has a pretty good track record.
But then his most recent thing was 6 Underground, which was terrible. That went direct to Netflix. It was a terrible movie, despite having my favorite movie star in it. That was a Ryan Reynolds film. And it was still absolutely brutally awful. And it opened on the same weekend that another movie that made $71 million at the box office opened. I just think, I'm hearing a lot of people saying...
Sonic 2, I mean... And look at where
that ate up a lot of the box office. And I just think a lot of people are overplaying this thing because hold up. It's not like it's a Transformers movie that flopped. It's a crappy looking, coming off of Six Underground, coming off of what was universally understood to be a terrible Transformers movie, Michael Bay's last. And this movie didn't do well. And we're reassessing where the whole position on action cinema.
Hang on a second. I'm not just talking Michael Bay here, but I think action cinema in general is something that has, because you've got Lionsgate releasing all these grindstone movies and you've seen all these low budget Bruce Willis programmers and all this stuff, that unless something is really special, unless John Wick is busting caps in dudes' heads, and he can do that very well, you need a certain, or Dwayne Johnson's in it. You need a certain heady, and even Dwayne Johnson's Red Notice, $200 million movie, was a Netflix film. I really do think
that was an original. Like that was conceived of and sent direct.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm like, dude, I miss low budget B action thrillers. You know what I miss? Brian Bosworth and Lance Henriksen in Stone Cold, one of the greatest action movies ever made, directed by Craig Baxley, an amazing second unit director. Where is that? And we've lost it. Unless we got John Wick. I think that action cinema, we need like Gareth Evans to come back and make the Rad 3.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like I think now action films, there was an era in the 80s where if your movie was shit, it's fine. Like it's an action film. Audiences, when it comes to action, I think have become a little bit more sophisticated.
I know.
That now if you're going to do it, listen, I fully believe there's a big audience for good action films.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like as you were pointing out, John Wick, right? You put out something that's exceptional and really good.
And beautifully made. The John Wick movies are beautifully made.
It will attract its audience.
Absolutely.
And the audience will come to it. You crank out Michael Bay shite. And I'm a Michael Bay guy. I'm a Michael Bay defender. But this movie was crap. Right. And some people liked it, and that's great. I went with Erin Cummings, and she enjoyed it. But it looked like crap. And it opened against a movie that had a $71 million opening. So when I saw it, listen, did I think it was going to make $8 million? No. But I honestly thought it would make 12. I really didn't. I never thought.
What does it say about our culture that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 versus Ambulance? There's something going on.
One is
we
better.
love things that are delightful and good.
One's better. I'm sorry. Sonic is better. It's a better experience. You just go there. You're delighted. You have a lot of fun. And I mean, hey, if you're really into drone shots, maybe Ambulance.
That's true, yeah.
Is for you. And
But I
some
mean,
crazy car action.
You do have to expect more of these films, though, like you were saying. It can't all be Tombstone Pizza. It's not good enough to be like, there's some explosions, and you go, that's a movie. Like, we want more from it. We want our scenes to make sense. We want the explosions to have payoffs. We want character development. And as much as people can appreciate a very, very attractive Michael Bay heroine and all the butt shots you want to do of her, we need to have storytelling.
No, it's funny. I totally agree with you. I think back to Martin Brest, director Martin Brest, who made Beverly Hills Cop and Midnight Run. Those were great or Walter Hill doing 48 Hours. We got characters, great characters.
Great
characters with great interplay. But like Beverly Hills Cop opens with a truck chase. A semi-truck is being, and Eddie Murphy's swinging and the Neutron Dance is playing. But it's a real semi-truck smashing through, like, on the city streets of Detroit, real cars. And you feel it, man. You're like, wow. And I recently, because the 4K disc came out, I recently rewatched that opening scene, and that is a stellar bit of action. And nowadays, I mean, I would love to see something like a Midnight Run or a Beverly Hills Cop.
Sure, but getting back to our topic at hand here, talking about Man from Toronto, I mean, I
still think it could be good.
I acknowledge the possibility exists it could be good, but I think if Sony thought it was good,
I know,
I think they would put this thing in theaters like they always planned on it. And all their other stuff they're keeping in theaters, so it's like
Woody Harrelson and Kevin Hart, though, that just appeals to me.
I was gonna say, and what we're lacking in maybe action ability, Woody Harrelson. I mean, come on, that is Academy Award level acting, like, right? And Jason Statham, I love him to pieces, but I remember that Dungeons and Dragons movie. He does He doesn't always
No,
bring the gravitas.
that was the Werner Herzog movie, right? Not Werner Herzog.
No, Uwe Boll.
Uwe
There we
Boll.
go. I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
Yeah,
not
like-
good.
Yeah, no, that wasn't good. But
He's the anti-auteur.
But I mean, I love Woody Harrelson. Yes, Academy level actor. But I also saw him in that one he just did with Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Oh, Kate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I look, if this is a role that requires some dig deep acting, give me Woody Harrelson all day.
Yeah.
You want an action comedy? I'll take Jason Statham over Woody Harrelson.
What about like
It opens the
Zombieland?
He's great in Zombieland.
I didn't like the original Zombieland all that much, but I did prefer the second one.
But still-
yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah.
But again, I just think Jason Statham is I mean, obviously Woody Harrelson's the better actor.
Okay, let me ask you
But I think
this.
Jason Statham would be a better fit for that.
Yeah.
Forget that it's about Canadians. You're gonna watch this, aren't you? Aren't you gonna watch when The Man from Toronto comes on? You're gonna watch it, aren't you?
Yeah. Unless I hear from a bunch of my peers that I trust who see it before me say, "Oh," then I might give it a pass. But yeah, I will still plan on seeing it. I'm just saying, I will go to the theater thinking it's going to be crap. I will leave those expectations at the door.
Well, you can't go to the theater
Watch it in. Why can't I go to the theater?
it's streaming.
because it's streaming.
Oh, that's I will go to my living room with my bowl of cheddar and caramel popcorn
and aviation gin.
and aviation gin. Thank
I love
you.
that we've been lushes all week.
I know.
Again, let me reaffirm to everybody, we are not sponsored by Aviation Gin. We just very much appreciate that someone over
Appreciate you, baby.
we just deeply appreciate that someone over there affiliated with Aviation Gin sent us a couple of crates of the stuff. So we
I love that folks think that you drank it all, John. No.
No, listen. I did. Let me be very clear about this, okay? Yeah, this bottle is now down to here in like a day and a half. But let me be very, very clear. Well, I have had a couple of drinks of these. Yeah. So I go out. We brought up one of our sponsor breaks the other day. I ran to the bathroom because I got 90 seconds to do it. And the bottle was here. All right. Bottle was about here because I drink about it. I come back from the bathroom and the bottle was here. And I'm like, what
I went
happened?
down the primrose path by the ladies. They forced it down
That's right.
my gullet.
It was Aaron and Chris.
It was
kinda
Aaron
like
and
grabbed
Chris.
the bottle.
They're
dare.
a bad influence on
How
me.
dare.
Anyway,
So I'm to sell you down the river on the internet. You're in trouble now.
Man.
question is for you guys. What do you think about The Man from Toronto now going direct to Netflix? Were you guys ever looking forward to it? Maybe you have been. Maybe you think this is perfectly fine. There's nothing to worry about. Whatever you guys think about this right now, jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts.